They laughed together. On the beach after betrayal, unaware their ruin had just commenced. What if the person you trusted most was secretly tearing your world apart? Imagine standing on a sun-drenched beach, the waves crashing softly, unaware that your life is about to unravel. Ethan Brooks thought he knew his wife, Emma. 8 years of marriage, a cozy home, a golden retriever named Scout. But as he hides behind a dune, heart-pounding, his camera captures a chilling truth. Emma's laughter, her whispered betrayals, and her colleague Derek's smug grin. "It's thrilling to humiliate my husband without him even knowing," she says, oblivious to Ethan's presence just steps away. The words slice through him, sharper than the ocean breeze. Is this the woman he vowed to love forever? Why has she been lying for months? And what devastating secrets are about to explode? As their phones buzz with career-ending news, Ethan's rage simmers. He's been collecting proof, and this is only the beginning. Buckle up for a roller coaster of deception, revenge, and raw emotion, where every revelation raises the stakes. Will Ethan reclaim his life, or will betrayal consume him? Dive into a story where trust is a lie, and the truth is a ticking bomb. It's thrilling to humiliate my husband without him even knowing. That's what she said with a smirk, lying half naked on a beach towel next to her colleague Derek, still glowing. From whatever they just finished doing behind the dunes, her words hit harder than a punch because they weren't just meant for him. They were meant to cut me. And she didn't even know I was standing 20 FT away. Derek laughed low and arrogant. "You're a monster," he said, tracing a finger down her back. She grinned whiter. "That's why you love me." They were sunbathing after their dirty little secret, toasting their stupidity with warm champagne from a cooler. I crouched behind a clump of dune grass, my camera already recording. The ocean breeze whipped her sundress around her hips. She didn't bother fixing it. Why would she? She thought no one was watching. She thought she'd gotten away with everything, but I was done being blind. Just then, both of their phones buzzed. At first, they ignored them. Then they buzzed again, harder, angrier. Emma rolled over, reached for hers, and her smile evaporated in real time. Derek's brows furrowed. He grabbed his phone and sat up. "What the hell do you mean we're terminated?" he snapped. Emma's voice cracked. "You can't fire me over this. It's not like—" "No, wait, I can explain." But she couldn't explain because I had already explained everything. Earlier that morning, I sent Horizon Innovations Board of Directors a dossier, 50 pages, emails, hotel receipts, timestamps, voice recordings. Her moans echoing in a hotel suite. I never knew she visited. Derek's voice calling her my dirty little bonus. Their HR policy was very clear about workplace conduct, especially when it involved embezzlement, falsified trips, and 2 married executives screwing each other on the company's dime. They were done. But they didn't know that I wasn't finished yet. You see, this wasn't the first time she lied. It was just the first time I was smart enough to collect proof. Let me rewind a few weeks. My name is Ethan Brooks, 36, Senior Marketing Director, married for 8 years, no kids, a golden retriever named Scout, and up until recently, a wife who pretended late meetings and yoga retreats were normal things for a married woman to do 4 times a week. Emma changed gradually, like poison seeping into water. She started wearing lipstick to staff briefings, but never for date nights. She laughed too loud at texts she refused to show me. She came home at 11 p.m. smelling like cologne I didn't wear with excuses that crumbled if I so much as blinked. It was Lauren's birthday. I had to cover for Derek. It was a networking dinner. Babe, you wouldn't understand. I started to understand more than she thought. So, I followed her. I hired a guy, ex-military, quiet, expensive. He tracked her car, bugged her phone, cloned her texts. What he sent me made my stomach turn. She wasn't even hiding it well. Derek booked the same coastal Airbnb 4 times in the last 2 months under a fake name. Paid in cash, That beach, that towel, that secret encounter. They'd been doing it there for weeks. But this time, I was watching. And this time, I was documenting everything. As Emma and Derek scrambled to pack their things, arguing into their phones and cursing the air, I stood up. Their heads turned like they'd seen a ghost. Because to them, I was supposed to be at work. I wasn't. I was here. And now so was the truth that Emma's jaw dropped. Her tan face turned pale, then red, then something in between. She clutched the towel tighter around herself, as if modesty suddenly mattered. Derek stood frozen, shirtless, the smug wiped clean off his face. I didn't say a word. I just held up my phone and hit play. Her voice came out clear as a bell, that smug little whisper. It's thrilling to humiliate my husband without him even knowing. And Derek's sleazy chuckle following it. Emma took a step forward. Ethan, listen. I shook my head and walked away. I had no interest in hearing her scramble yet. I'd waited weeks for this. I wanted her to sit in the filth of what she'd done, let it rot around her. You might think this moment, catching them red-handed, was the worst part. It wasn't. The worst part was before the slow, suffocating realization that something was wrong. That the woman you love doesn't look at you the same. That her hugs feel like obligations. That you're kissing someone who's already left the room in her mind. It started with little things. A missed call she didn't return. A lunch plan she cancelled last minute. Just slammed at work. Then it was her laughing too loudly at her phone, guarding it like it held state secrets. I asked once softly, "Is everything okay?" She blinked. "What do you mean? You felt distant." Emma smiled. Not with her eyes. "Don't be so sensitive, Ethan. I'm just stressed. Derek's driving me crazy." Derek. Always Derek. He was her boss originally, then her mentor, then her professional partner, and then apparently her favourite hobby. I remember the exact moment I knew. Not suspected, knew. It was 2 weeks before the beach incident. A Wednesday, she came home after 10 p.m. Hair messy, mascara smudged, blouse button wrong. "You look tired," I said, watching her kick off her heels. She looked up, startled like a thief caught with a hand in the drawer. "Huh?" "Yeah, long day." Then she walked right past me. No kiss, no smile, just a ghost of a woman with perfume I didn't recognize, and a bite mark on her shoulder she hadn't noticed yet. I sat on the couch for 15 minutes staring at the stairs. That was the night I opened the private account. See? I'm not dumb, and I'm not some sitcom husband waiting for clues to slap me in the face. I had a burner phone within 2 hours, installed spyware on her main phone while she showered the next morning, hired a PI the same day. It took 3 days to get results. Photos of her and Derek leaving a work dinner. Lips locked before they even reached his car. A receipt from a hotel I'd never been to. A video of her laughing as she pulled him into a rented condo near Cape Cod. I watched that video 3 times. Then I threw up. The betrayal wasn't just physical, it was psychological. She had created this entire world where I was nothing more than the fallback plan. The guy who paid the mortgage while she played house with someone else. She lied with ease, smiled through it, slept next to me like nothing happened. And I had to fake it too. Act like I still believed her stories. Like I didn't notice the late-night texting, the weekends at her sister's. I became an actor in my own life, just to make it to the day I could strike, and that day had come. The beach, the call from their employer, the horror on their faces when they realized the game was over. But like I said, that was just the beginning. The car ride home from the beach was dead silent. Emma sat in the passenger, seat wrapped in her towel, her sunglasses hiding the damage. She tried to speak once. "Ethan, I can expel," but I raised a hand and she fell quiet again. I needed the silence, needed to breathe through the rage boiling just beneath my ribs. I wasn't ready to hear her lies just yet. Not after watching her smirk while telling another man how fun it was to humiliate me. When we pulled into the driveway, she reached for my arm. Please, can we talk? I turned to her inside. You have 10 minutes, and don't you dare lie. She nodded like a guilty child, and we walked into the house. Same house where we hosted barbecues, took anniversary selfies, made love like fools under the illusion of forever. Now it smelled like betrayal. I dropped my keys on the counter and pointed to the couch. Sit. She did. Her body curled inwards, like she wanted to make herself smaller. I sat across from her, arms folded, the silence stretched. I wanted her to squirm. Start talking, I said. From the beginning. Emma looked down at her hands. It didn't mean anything. Wrong answer. I laughed, cold and sharp. You mean the part where you told him how thrilling it was to humiliate me? That didn't mean anything. She flinched. I was angry at you, she said suddenly, tone sharp. You've been emotionally distant. You don't notice me anymore. I leaned forward, eyes locked on hers. You cheated on me, lied to me, gaslit me for months, and your excuse is I was distant. I felt invisible, she snapped, and then caught herself covering her mouth. I stood up, rage cracking through me like lightning. You think screwing your coworker is a response to feeling ignored? You didn't talk to me. You didn't try. You went behind my back. You smiled in my face. You mocked me. She stood too, trying to match my height. What was I supposed to do, Ethan? You're always so logical, cold. I needed passion, fire, something real. My mouth dropped open. Something real. So, the lies, the beach romps, the fake work trips. That was you chasing real. She didn't answer, just looked at me like I was the villain in her twisted little story. Then she said something that nearly made me black out. He made me feel alive again. That was the moment I knew she wasn't sorry. Not really. Not for what she did. Only for being caught. The Emma in front of me wasn't the woman I married. This was someone else, someone cruel, and she still wasn't done lying. Ethan, she said, her voice syrupy now, manipulative. We can work through this. I'll quit my job. I'll go to therapy. We can heal. I looked at her in stunned silence. No, I said finally. We can't. Her face twisted in disgust. So that's it. You're just going to throw everything away. I laughed again, bitter. I'm throwing it away. You burned this house down, and now you're mad that I'm walking out of the fire. She stepped forward. You're not being fair. You had Derek's hands all over you, Emma. On company time, on my time. You're lucky I'm not putting this all over social media. That shut her up. I walked to the door. Where are you going? She asked, voice cracking. To get some air, I said, before I say something I can't take back. And I slammed the door behind me that I sat in the car for nearly 2 hours that night. The streetlights outside flickered like they were in on the joke. The neighborhood was quiet, families inside eating dinner, watching TV, laughing. I used to have that. Now I was just a man in a parked car, staring at a steering wheel, trying to remember how to breathe. I don't think anything prepares you for the emotional fallout of betrayal. It doesn't hit all at once. It leaks into your chest, cold and slow. At first it was just shock. The numb kind, like I'd been punched in the soul, but my body hadn't caught up yet. Then came the anger. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't a punch through a wall. It was deeper, more terrifying, a kind of internal earthquake, quiet on the outside, but everything inside collapsing. I sat there reliving every lie, every fake smile she gave me while she was planning her next escape to Derek's condo. My heart didn't break. It shattered piece by piece. I thought about our wedding day, her white dress, her vows. She said, I'll protect your heart like it's my own. I believed her. God, I was such a fool. I had no backup plan, no wall built for this kind of betrayal. I loved her with everything, all in, no conditions, and she threw me out like I was the boring husband while she played out her secret fantasies with a man who looked like he couldn't spell commitment if it were tattooed on his bicep. But worse than the anger was the humiliation. She made me the punchline in her private little world. While I was planning weekend getaways, she was busy planning what lingerie to wear for him. While I sent her good morning texts, she was waking up next to someone else, and she had the audacity to say, I made her feel invisible. I stared at my reflection in the car window. Who was I now? Not a husband. Not really. Not anymore. I didn't want to cry, but my eyes burned, not from sadness, but from the sheer weight of the truth pressing down on me. 8 years, 8 damn years of building a life with someone who clearly tore it down in her mind, long before she unzipped her dress for Derek. It wasn't just about the affair, it was about the way she made me feel stupid for not seeing it sooner. The signs were there. I ignored them because I loved her, because I trusted her, and now I hated myself for it. At some point, my phone buzzed a message from her. Come inside. Let's talk, please. I didn't reply. She didn't deserve my words. I turned the car on, drove around for an hour, just me, the engine, and a playlist I couldn't even hear. Every street I turned on to look like something we'd passed before. Every memory now infected. I thought about calling my brother Jake, but what would I even say? Hey, guess what? Your perfect sister-in-law has been playing mattress games with her co-worker. No, not yet. I needed time to breathe. Eventually, I came back home. The lights were off. The door was unlocked. She was asleep on the couch, or pretending to be. I walked past her without a word, locked the bedroom door behind me. For the first time in my own home, I wanted distance. I wanted silence. I wanted to scream into a pillow until my throat ripped open. But instead, I just lay there, eyes open, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out how to stop loving someone who never deserved me in the first place. The morning after, I woke up in a room that didn't feel like mine anymore. The bed was the same, the walls the same dull grey Emma insisted on, but everything felt different, colder, smaller, like the foundation had cracked overnight, and I was just pretending it still held weight. I hadn't slept. Not really. Just stared at the ceiling for hours, mind running in circles, chewing on every lie she ever told like glass in my mouth. When I finally stepped out, she was in the kitchen, hair tied up, wearing one of those oversized shirts that used to drive me crazy. Coffee already made, just how I like it. She was trying to play house, pretend nothing had happened, like we could somehow gloss over the fact that I had caught her on a beach tangled in Derek's arms, bragging about humiliating me like it was a game. I didn't say a word, just grabbed the coffee, turned, and headed for the guest room, the one I never used before. Ethan, she called softly behind me. Can we talk? I paused in the hallway. She didn't deserve a yes, but I gave her a glance. Fine, I said, turning back slowly. Talk. She pulled out a chair at the table, sat down like a student facing expulsion. I don't want to lose you, she said. What happened with Derek? It was a mistake, a stupid, selfish mistake. I stayed standing. She continued. You've been distant. I felt unwanted. Hi, and Derek. He made me feel seen, but I swear it didn't mean anything serious. It was just what? I snapped. Just skin on skin for sport. Just 2 co-workers turning hotel beds into war zones while I made dinner and waited for your fake text about running late. She looked away, silent. You made a choice, Emma, and not once, not twice, for months. You lied, and you lied well. You played me like I was the dull, idiot husband while you played adrenaline games with a corporate Kindle. I didn't mean to hurt you. That was the last straw. I laughed. You didn't mean to hurt me, but you bragged about humiliating me out loud, to him under the sun, like it was some twisted vacation bonus. She flinched again. I put the coffee down. You know what's funny? I said calmer now. I didn't even like Derek. I always thought he was arrogant, slimy. I told you that, and you defended him every time. Told me I was being insecure. I know. she whispered. I was. Protecting the lie. That part at least was honest. We sat in silence. Then I said the words she clearly didn't want to hear. I want a divorce. Her eyes widened. No, Ethan, please, we can fix this. No, I repeated. You broke it. And I don't want to glue broken pieces back together just to walk on eggshells for the rest of my life. She reached for my hand. I pulled it away. You made me feel worthless. I said, you looked me in the eye every day and lied. That's not a marriage. That's a magic trick with no audience left. She didn't cry. She just sat there, finally speechless. I walked to the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and began to pack. I didn't know where I was going yet. Maybe Jake's place. Maybe a hotel for a few nights. I just knew I couldn't breathe in that house anymore. As I zipped up the bag, I looked around one last time. The framed wedding photo on the dresser looked like a joke now. Two strangers dressed up as soulmates. She stood in the doorway. I didn't think you'd actually leave. Neither did I said. But I was already gone 3 days after I left. I got a call from HR at Horizon Innovations. Mr. Brooks, we're aware of the situation involving your wife and Mr. Sullivan. Thank you for bringing the evidence forward. Their termination was effective immediately. We're conducting a wider audit into fraudulent activity, and your documentation has helped open several internal investigations. I didn't respond right away. I was sitting on Jake's couch drinking cheap coffee from a chipped mug and staring at the wall like it owed me answers. He was out back, grilling something and pretending not to eavesdrop. Understood. I finally said, do what you need to do. They thanked me and hung up. I stared at my phone. It buzzed again, and this time it was a text. Emma, I'm so sorry I can't eat. I can't sleep. Please talk to me. I deleted it. The fallout hadn't stopped with her job. Word spread. The industry talks. Derek's reputation was scorched. His name became poison in meetings. I even heard through a mutual connection that he'd lost a 6-figure consulting offer when the company Googled him and found screenshots leaked online of him and Emma, of course, mid-cozy. Not by me. I'd only sent the package to her employer, but once things like that hit HR servers, they don't always stay there. Emma's Instagram went dark. Her LinkedIn deleted. Friends stopped liking her pictures. She'd gone full digital ghost. Jake came in, tossed me a plate of grilled chicken, and sat across from me. You going to answer her eventually? No, he nodded, slowly. You're done. Past done? He chewed. Good. She deserves nothing. The crazy thing was, I didn't feel victorious, not even close. I'd burned the bridge and left the ashes, but there was no satisfaction, just the numbness of survival, the feeling of dragging myself through something filthy, just to get to clean ground again. Later that night, I went back to the house, not for her, for my things. She wasn't there. At least I hope not. But when I unlocked the door, I found her, sitting in the living room, hair unwashed, face blotchy, wearing the same robe I used to steal hugs from in the mornings. I didn't know you were coming, she said quietly. I texted, told you to be gone. I didn't see it. I don't care. I moved past her, grabbed a few boxes, and started packing everything that felt like mine, not ours. There was no us anymore. She followed me into the bedroom. Ethan, you don't even want to try. I paused, holding a framed photo of us from a ski trip 2 winters ago. I remembered how she laughed in the snow, tossed it in my face, kissed me when I fell. That version of her didn't exist anymore. Try, I said. I did try. For months, I tried to believe the lies. I tried to stay present when you weren't. I tried to make sense of the nonsense. And you? You were busy performing for Derek under hotel sheets. I was lost. You were selfish. She looked away. I grabbed my bag and started for the door. You're not the man I married, she whispered. I stopped, turned back slowly. No, I said, he died. You killed him. And with that, I left. This time, for good. A week passed. One strange, hollow week of waking up on my brother's pull-out couch, staring at the popcorn ceiling and wondering how my life fell off a cliff so fast. There were moments I forgot. Moments where I almost picked up my phone to text her something mundane. Don't forget the laundry. Need anything from Costco? Before reality slammed back in. She wasn't mine anymore. Or maybe she never really was. I started working from a shared office downtown just to get out of Jake's place. He tried to keep things light. Beer nights, Netflix marathons, awkward pep talks, but nothing hit the spot. I felt like a man who had walked out of a burning house, with sod on his lungs and no idea what to build next. One afternoon, I got a message from an unknown number. Hope it was worth it, rat. No name, but I knew the tone. Derek, childish, predictable, powerless. I didn't respond. What was there to say? His whole life had collapsed in on itself, and he needed someone to blame. Fine, let him. I wasn't going to waste breath on a man who thought someone else's wife was a career opportunity. Later that same day, I got an email from Emma. No subject line, just one sentence. I found out I'm pregnant. I read it 5 times. My heart didn't just drop, it flatlined. Was it mine? Was it his? I stared at the screen, my stomach churning with fury, disbelief, and something else I didn't want to name. Hope, fear, maybe both. I didn't respond immediately. I closed the laptop, stood, and paced the room like a caged animal. If the child was mine, everything changed. If it wasn't, then I was being played one final time. I called her. She answered, on the first ring. Is it mine? I asked. My voice was sharp, cold. I don't know yet, she said. And for once she sounded genuinely terrified. You're not sure? It was only once with Derek, she said quickly. I didn't even want it to happen. Don't you dare try to sanitize this. I'm not. I'm scared. And I didn't know who else to tell. Of course you told me because you still think. I'm the one who'll fix your mess. She didn't argue. I need time, I said. And proof. I want a paternity test the second it's possible. Do you understand? Yes. And if it's mine, you'll raise that child without dragging me back into your manipulations. I would never use a child like that, wouldn't you? I asked flatly. You used me for 8 years. A child wouldn't even slow you down. She started crying, but I didn't feel bad. Not anymore. I was past the point of sympathy, past the point of wanting anything from her but distance. That night, something shifted inside me. Maybe it was the thought of becoming a father. Maybe it was the final emotional uppercut from a woman who'd already beaten me into the ground. But I realized something vital. I couldn't stay in this limbo. I needed to move forward, not for her, not even for a possible child. For me, I booked a short trip that night, somewhere quiet, mountains, trees, a place I could hear myself think again. I needed to grieve. I needed to bleed out what was left of her in my system. Because when I came back, it would be a new season. No more sitting in ruins. It was time to build something better, even if it started with nothing but broken bricks. The cabin was old, creaky, and smelled faintly of pine and history. I booked it for a week in the Smoky Mountains. No Wi-Fi, no reception. Just me, a fire pit, and a journal I hadn't opened since our honeymoon. Back when I used to write down memories I thought we'd laugh about one day. That journal was supposed to be filled with years of adventures. I tore out the old pages and started new ones. Day 1. I'm not here to forget her. I'm here to remember myself. The silence was healing in ways I didn't expect. No notifications, no pretending, just raw thoughts, painful truths, and the occasional scream into the void when it all got too heavy. By day 3, I stopped waking up with her face in my dreams. By day 5, I started laughing again. Not much, just quietly to myself when I burned breakfast or slipped on moss outside like a cartoon. I didn't know if the baby was mine yet. I hadn't called Emma. I was letting that wait. Some truths could hold a while. What mattered more was this. I was no longer waiting for her to hand me closure. I was building my own. Emma used to say I was too logical, too emotionally flat. But the truth is, I just didn't scream when I was drowning. I held it in, smiled through storms, trusted too much. And look where that got me. But I'm not bitter anymore. Not like before. Anger burns fast and dies ugly. It leaves you hollow if you let it grow. So I let it go. I stopped needing her to understand what she did. I stopped needing her apology to mean something. I forgave her. Not for her, but for me. When I came back to the city, I didn't call her. I met with a lawyer, signed the divorce papers, delivered them through a courier. Cold maybe, but clean. A week later, she emailed me again. Paternity confirmed. The baby is Derek's. I won't bother you anymore. I'm sorry, Ethan, for all of it. That was the last time I heard from her, and I was okay with that. Some betrayals don't deserve reconciliation. Some people are lessons, not soulmates. Jake and I toasted that night. He grilled steaks and handed me a glass of bourbon. To fresh starts, he said. To better endings, I replied. I moved into a new apartment, smaller, cozier, no shadows in the corners. I started painting again, something I hadn't done since college. Sold 2 pieces to a local cafe. Took a solo trip to Colorado. Started dating again slowly. No apps, just conversation, just eye contact and honesty. One night, a woman asked me, "What's the worst thing you've ever been through?" I smiled, learning that someone I loved was really good at pretending. She nodded. And the best thing, walking away before it destroyed me. And that's the truth. I survived Emma. But more importantly, I survived me, the version of myself who ignored the signs, who believed lies because they were easier than the truth, who gave and gave to someone who only took. I've learned to protect my peace now, to listen to my gut, to ask better questions of others and of myself. If you're reading this, if you're where I was, let me leave you with this. You're not weak for loving someone who hurt you. You're only lost if you stay in that pain. Stand up, walk out, rebuild. There is life after betrayal, and sometimes it's better than anything you had. Betrayal cuts deeper than any blade, leaving scars that whisper lessons long after the wound closes. Ethan Brooks' journey through Emma's deceit unveils a universal truth. Love can blind, but it also teaches. His story isn't just about a marriage shattered on a sunlit beach. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. When trust crumbles, the instinct is to cling to the ruins, to salvage what's familiar. Yet, Ethan's choice to walk away, through rage, humiliation, and the shadow of a child that might have been his, shows that true strength lies in letting go. He didn't just survive Emma's lies, he rebuilt himself, piece by painful piece, in the quiet of the Smoky Mountains, where silence spoke louder than her excuses. The lesson here is stark. You are not defined by those who hurt you, but by how you rise from their wreckage. To anyone standing where Ethan stood, know this. Your pain is not your prison. Forgive, not for them, but to free your own heart. Trust your instincts. They're the compass when love turns to lies. And never fear starting over. A new beginning, however small, is a victory over betrayal. Life after deception isn't just possible. It can be richer, wiser, more honest. Ethan's new apartment, his paintings, his solo trip to Colorado, they're not just steps forward. They're proof that the best revenge is a life well lived. So stand tall, walk out, and build anew. The world waits for those brave enough to reclaim their story.